What is going on, everybody? My name is Danny K. This is Danny K Crypto, and welcome back to another episode of Blockchain Breakdown, where we break down a blockchain in 10 minutes or less. Today, we're going to be talking about Ethereum Classic, or ETC. It is the vintage version of Ethereum, as some might say. Resulted from a contentious hard fork of the project back in, I believe it was like late 2016. We'll jump right into that and give you a little background on how Ethereum Classic came to be. And it's a little bit confusing, but I'll try to make it as simple as possible. So in May of 2016, a venture capital firm called the DAO built its project on the Ethereum blockchain. This was before Ethereum Classic was created. And it was, the DAO was essentially an ERC20 token. At the time, it raised about $168 million in ICO capital, which was the largest amount of funds raised for an ICO at that time. Within a month, a paper had been published detailing a high-level security vulnerability. And as a result of it not being taken seriously or getting fixed fast enough, a hacker then exploited the vulnerability and stole roughly 3.6 million Ether, which at the time was worth about $50 million of basically the DAO's funding. After a lot of discussion between the Ethereum dev team and the DAO venture capital firm, they decided to hard fork Ethereum's blockchain, allowing a smart contract to be written that would reverse the hacker's transaction and thus getting the ICO Ether back to its rightful owners. However, as a result of this decision, a subset of Ethereum core developers and a large part of the community thought that this was a terrible idea and rejected the solution on the grounds of immutability, or the idea that a blockchain record should never be altered, never be changed, and never be rolled back. So, as a result, Ethereum Classic was born on block 1,920,000 on July 20th, 2016, keeping the original blockchain and the hacker's transaction in play, and leaving the hacker with his 3.6 million tokens that are now technically Ethereum Classic tokens and not Ethereum tokens. So, at the time, these newly created Ethereum Classic tokens were worth about 1/5 the price of the changed hard forked Ethereum tokens. I know that seems a little confusing. So, out of the contention of this decision, Ethereum Classic was born. And while it was similar to Ethereum in terms of capability, the larger majority of developers, coders, and investors went into the Ethereum camp, leaving Ethereum Classic to fend for itself. Ethereum Classic advocates for a blockchain of immutability and the concept that code is law. And by splitting off from Ethereum, the project is not supported by the Ethereum Foundation. ETC, Ethereum Classic, started the Ethereum Classic Lab Foundation to provide long-term support and funding, research, and growth, as well as gaining some interesting partners. But an interesting partner in the Ethereum Classic camp was IOHK, or Input Output Hong Kong, basically a tech company that works with and develops blockchain technology that is strongly supported and funded and developed under the Cardano camp, or the Cardano platform. Funny enough, this company was founded by Charles Hoskinson, and he was an old Ethereum developer and figurehead back in the early days when Ethereum first started. However, he had a falling out with the original Ethereum team, so make of that what you will. Unfortunately, though, that's not the end of the drama for Ethereum Classic. On January 5th of 2019, Ethereum Classic's blockchain was 51% attacked, and that continued for 3 days, resulting in an estimated $1.1 million in losses. 51% attacks are basically where an individual or group of individuals combine their mining power and direct all of their miners and hashing power to go after lower, less secured blockchains in order to reorganize the blocks on the chain and double spend tokens. Which, is kind of ironic considering their whole thing is code is law and the blockchain is immutable, yet it's getting 51% attacked, and these malicious actors are rearranging the blockchain. The full value of losses have been hard to pin down, some speculating the 1.1 million in losses, some say higher, some say lower. And there was quite a bit of misinformation coming from multiple sources about what was going on during this 51% attack. There's a lot of misinformation. One outlet reported that it was for that, some miners were doing some testing and they didn't mean to, while other people said no, there was actually malicious actors and there was a rearranging of the blockchain. But be that as it may, despite all the drama-filled start and the 51% attack, Ethereum Classic is still running strong. Well, it doesn't have much firepower and as much backing as Ethereum. They did recently roll out a new development hard fork. This is a non-contentious hard fork called Atlantis, kind of a change in the protocol that was implemented to help further secure the network, as well as making it easier for sibling blockchains to kind of interconnect and talk to each other. So yeah, Ethereum Classic is kind of the underdog in the smart contract decentralized application world. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think that Ethereum Classic has a chance in the long term? Do you think that it lost any credibility once it got 51% attacked? Do you think it will ever compete against the likes of Ethereum? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you liked this video or found it educational, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. I don't mind. But again, thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you want more content like this. My name is Danny K, and I'll see you in the next one.